Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Today is a pretty big episode. We're going to start with the controversy that was going all around college football last week, and that is the Urban Meyer controversy. His assistant coach was a wife beater, apparently, or allegedly. He hasn't been charged with anything, and he kept him on staff since 2009. And should he be fired or not? Will he be fired or not? What do you guys think about this controversy?
I believe that Ohio State will have no choice but to fire him if these reports are proven true. They need a little more time to investigate, because right now they don't have enough evidence to say one way or another, but if they're reported true, he will be fired and they won't have a choice. He will not be fired. He's fine. He's not going to be fired for just knowing. He didn't do anything. It's not like he beat his own wife. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You know, why the heck did Joe Paterno get fired? I mean, he knew about it, but it's not like he was molesting the kids. I mean, what the heck?
Exactly.
Makes perfect sense.
Innocent till proven guilty. He has not done anything wrong.
Alex, what do you think?
And you know what? He did. They're not going to fire him because he's too good of a coach. That's not true. There's no choice. How can you not fire him? Michigan State just fired Dan Tony.
Listen, hey.
You can't. It's like a serious issue.
Listen, Urban Meyer has been a complete bitch in this situation. He hasn't stood up to the media and said anything. The day that report came out, D'Antonio showed some balls and stood up to the podium and said it was false. Urban Meyer hasn't done anything. His little bitch ass is sitting out at his house worrying about what's going to happen. No, D'Antonio had real balls to actually go up to the media and take questions. Meyer's just too much of a bitch to do that. And I've lost respect for him.
Administrative leave, so he won't be able to take questions on it.
It doesn't matter. Listen, D'Antonio, nobody even contemplated D'Antonio. He was going to keep his job no matter what. In fact, they just gave him a contract extension like 3 days after the report came out. That's how confident they were in D'Antonio. Listen, Urban Meyer, I don't know what's going to happen to him, but all I know is either his team's going to rally around him and win and go 12-0, or they're going to crumble and go 8-4. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll see.
He's fine. He's fine.
Okay.
Mark my words. What's today? August 5th? August 4th? August 5th?
August 6th.
Urban Meyer will be
Or August 4th. August 5th, yeah.
Next 5 years. At least.
Okay.
Another heart attack.
Okay then. Let's move on to conference predictions. We're going to go through the Power 5 conferences. We're going to talk about who's going to win the divisions and stuff, and some sleeper teams, who will fall off. And we're going to start with the ACC, and we'll also include Notre Dame in here, even though they're not in the ACC.
But they can't win the ACC.
They're a partial member of the ACC, so we'll include them in this.
Not for football. They can't win the ACC.
It doesn't matter. It's just a slide.
Okay. Alright. I've got Miami winning the ACC. Well, alright. That's horrible. I have Clemson. Clemson's going to win the Atlantic. Miami's going to win the Coastal. Yeah, I'm with that prediction. I don't see them losing. Well, Miami is a great young team. They were up and coming last year. Didn't have the experience to beat Wisconsin in that bowl game. But they'll be back this year and they'll win that conference.
Are you kidding me? They were the home team. They had like 80,000 of their own fans there, and they couldn't win.
I don't care. They're gonna win.
They made Alex Hornibrook look like Steve Young out there. I mean, are you kidding me?
That's Miami will win.
This is the same Alex Hornibrook that was held to 24 points against Illinois. And they made him look like a god.
He sucks. Alex Hornibrook is
He does not suck. He's a good quarterback. But I'm saying
No, he's not.
it's ridiculous that you have Miami winning the ACC. In fact, they're not even going to win their division. I got Virginia Tech winning the Coastal.
Gotta be kidding me.
Clemson, it's a 3-horse race in the Atlantic between Clemson, NC State, and Boston College, but I got Clemson winning that one.
Boston College is a sleeper team this year.
They are. And Pitt is a sleeper team in the other division. Pitt is going to be a good team this year.
That's like saying USC is going to make the playoffs, Mike. That's no. Duke could be good. No.
Listen, every ACC team is going to be good this year except for North Carolina. Every other team is going to be good.
Also, Florida State is going to be very good.
And this might be one of those years that Georgia Tech comes out of nowhere and wins 10 games. Who knows?
See that. With their what's it called, offense? The triple option?
Yeah, the triple option. They have a good system there in Georgia Tech. Anyways, Clemson's going to win the ACC.
Yep, agreed. No. Which would not make it unanimous.
Okay. I have Notre Dame going 9-3, just in case anybody cares. Yeah, they're just on the same slide. That's the only reason why I'm talking about them.
I don't care about Notre Dame. They always choke.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, let's move on to the SEC.
I've got Auburn winning the SEC. Ooh. Alabama's still gonna they're only gonna have one loss. It's gonna be to Auburn again. So it's just like last year. Yeah, it'll do the same thing. I have Alabama winning the West, and I think it's a 2-team race for the East between Georgia and Missouri. What?
Explain yourself.
Missouri's got pretty much their entire team coming back. Drew Lock coming back as a quarterback, probably the best quarterback in the SEC. No, Jarrett Stidham is the best quarterback in the SEC. No, that's no. No, Missouri and Georgia will be a 2-team race in the East, and Alabama will win the West. So who wins the whole thing then for the SEC? Alabama. I don't know. I have a hard time taking against them. The whole quarterback situation is kind of throwing me off with them.
Okay.
I think they have to make the right choice. They picked the wrong quarterback. Who are you going to pick then? You're going to take Tua's going to start for Alabama week 1. I don't think he should, but he's probably going to.
All right. So you're predicting Alabama's going to win?
Yeah. I can't pick against them.
Okay. Well, we've seen how 2 quarterback systems have gone in the past. We saw it. It was a disaster at Ohio State. Complete disaster.
They went 12-1.
An embarrassing loss to Michigan State at home. With a 2.
Purdue last year.
Well, Purdue also went 6-6 last year. Let's not get on our high horse right now. So I'm already disqualifying Alabama because they have a tough schedule coming up. I don't care if they're favored in every game. They're losing to Texas A&M. And they have a tough game against Auburn at the end of the year, of course.
Is Johnny Manziel coming back for that game?
Yeah, I mean, the CFL and the SEC is basically the same thing, right? So, I mean...
Yeah, 4 picks in the first half.
So, anyway, Alabama, tough game against Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt knows their defensive signals. They might steal some signs.
Oh, Johnny Pruitt.
Johnny Pruitt, yeah. All right, I'm still gonna take. You know what? I'm going Mississippi State in the West, and I'm going South Carolina in the East because I was impressed with what I saw in the bowl game. They just dismantled Michigan. It wasn't even close in the second half.
Yeah, because they played one good quarter. They really dismantled them.
And the fact that South Carolina plays Georgia week 2 this year gives them an advantage. Georgia won't be going as quickly as they will at the end of the season. And I have South Carolina winning the SEC this year, even though they will still have 10 wins. This is the year that the SEC has no team in the playoff this year.
Okay. No way. Not possible. Never tell if you're serious with this.
I'm serious. I'm not feeling the SEC this year.
I don't believe so.
Every conference has to have their year to not have a team. It's their turn now.
What about the Pac-12? Is that every year for them?
Them and the Big 12 trade off usually. Anyways, and yes, Missouri's a sleeper. Ole Miss is a sleeper. Ole Miss has
Ole Miss? Really? Yeah.
yeah. Tuamu's way better than Patterson. They're lucky they got rid of Patterson. They beat Mississippi State last year. LSU's gonna choke like they did last year, like they do every year.
Yep.
Oh, look out for Kentucky though. Kentucky's got a good team. Anyway, let's move on. For the Big 12.
I've got Oklahoma. This is a no-brainer. Kyler Murray's a great quarterback, so they won't have any issue. TCU. Gary Patterson, the last 5 years, Gary Patterson has led them to a top 10 finish every year. I think they're going to get it done this year.
Okay. Solid pick.
Clearly the best team in the conference. Let's relax. Let's calm down here. But Iowa State's a sleeper. Is Kansas? I think Kansas is a sleeper, yeah. Okay. Kansas is one. Last time Kansas actually did something, they had freaking shot himself on the team.
So Luke just picked Kansas to win the Big 12. Is that what I'm hearing?
I picked TCU.
No, you switched your team late to Kansas.
I'm switching it back.
Hey, Rutgers at Kansas is a big game early in the year.
That is a massive game. That is a big game.
I hope Gus Johnson's doing that game. He'll be a hype beast for that game. Alex, who you got winning the Big 12?
Oklahoma. That's a horrible pick.
Just awful.
Oklahoma's up with the Big 12. They lost Skyler's big scarf. Yeah, I feel like that's my one pick. I'm not really sure.
Chris is not going to like my pick, but I'm going to take Oklahoma State as they get rid of their quarterback. And well, it was a case of they had too good of a quarterback for their own good. Mason Rudolph was too good for them. They're bringing in a graduate transfer from Hawaii to be their starting quarterback. I think they'll have a big year. Justice Hill was held back by crappy Mason Rudolph. He'll get tons of carries this year. Mason Rudolph, who couldn't beat Kansas State last year, choked against Oklahoma.
Yeah, the 45 points he put up against Kansas State. You kidding me? The 56 points he put up against Oklahoma.
Hey, he got down 55-10 and couldn't come back. That's his fault.
The defense sucks.
Their defense is top 10 in the conference. Top 10 in the conference. And let me tell you something. Oklahoma State's defense is underrated. It's because Mason Rudolph had to go 100 miles per hour on offense to give his defense no time to rest.
Oh, yeah.
They're a good defense. They will show.
No, they're not.
Mike Gundy will win his second Big 12 championship. And I have Texas in the Big 12 championship game too. Well, Oklahoma State will beat Texas.
Going 5-7. I got Texas 5-7.
Texas 5-7.
They'll be better than last year.
No, it'll be worse because they always choke.
Don't forget about Baylor. Baylor's a tough team. West Virginia, the most overrated team in the country.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's true.
Kansas. I don't know anybody on Kansas. I don't know any coaches on Kansas. So, who cares about Kansas?
When was the last time they were good? Like 1960?
2007. They almost went to the national championship. Yep. Then they went 5-7 the year later.
Yeah, now they go like 0-12.
They've won 3 games in the last 3 years. All right. Let's move on to the Conference of Champions, the Pac-12. Who you guys got winning the Pac-12?
I got Oregon.
Hello?
I have Oregon, yep.
Luke.
Oregon. How could you pick?
Anyways,